Donald agreed to the terms of the White House card.
You know, I'm not negotiating with the UFC on behalf of myself for this fight, like usual. I'm negotiating with the United States of America on behalf of Ireland for this fight. So it's a peculiar one. But Trump and the administration have been fully supportive and backing, and I cannot wait.
Demetrius Johnson just destroyed Conor McGregor's entire comeback narrative with 7 words that sent shockwaves through the combat sports world. The legendary Mighty Mouse looked straight into the camera and declared, "We don't need McGregor at the White House." This wasn't some casual comment from a retired fighter looking for attention. This was a calculated strike from one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters in MMA history, directly challenging whether the Notorious One deserves a spot on what's being called the most historic fight card ever assembled. Johnson's statement cut through years of hype and speculation like a knife through butter, arguing that raw performance and current grinding should determine who gets to fight at the White House, not past glory or social media followers. And here's what makes this so explosive. Johnson is speaking for every active fighter who's been watching McGregor tease comebacks for 5 years, while they've been bleeding and sweating in the octagon every few months.
So you don't see any world that, like, Conor comes back? I know there was, like, him on the billboards with Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Conor's going to come back or not. You know, we've been talking about it for a while. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Despite this unprecedented call-out from one of the sport's most respected voices, McGregor is acting like nothing happened. He's out there training like a man possessed, posting videos of himself throwing bombs in the gym, calling himself a strong rocket launching broken missiles in classic McGregor fashion. The Irish superstar is grinding day and night as if the fight contract is already signed and sitting on Dana White's desk. What's fascinating is his complete dismissal of all the noise around whether he deserves this spot. McGregor isn't just training, he's preparing for war, convinced that the White House card is happening and that he's got a guaranteed spotlight waiting for him. This level of confidence in the face of direct criticism from legends like Johnson shows either supreme self-belief or complete delusion. And honestly, that uncertainty is exactly what's keeping everyone glued to this story.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, so that's not nothing you'd entertain for the White House.
No.
And I saw recently, too, that Joe Rogan was saying that you should just have Alex fight John Jones at the White House. Is that something you feel like?
At 205?
I mean, yeah, I guess, or...
Yeah, I mean, that would be a fight, but can I count on John Jones?
Yeah.
Can't have John...
Now get this, while McGregor is pushing forward with this fierce intensity, Dana White is doing the complete opposite. The UFC president is publicly downplaying any talk of a McGregor comeback, giving these incredibly evasive answers whenever reporters bring up the Notorious One's name. White's acting like McGregor's return is some far-fetched fantasy when we all know the Irishman is the biggest draw in combat sports history. But here's the kicker. This isn't genuine hesitancy from White. This is masterful promotion disguised as reluctance. The UFC president is playing a psychological game, building anticipation by pretending to resist what everyone knows is inevitable. He's creating artificial scarcity around McGregor's return, making fans desperate for any crumb of information about the White House card. It's genius marketing wrapped in fake uncertainty, and it's working perfectly because here we are, analyzing every word White says about McGregor like it's the Da Vinci Code.
Like, let's say John Jones comes back, he fights Johnson Almeida. He was like, you know what? I want to be on the White House card. What do I got to do? They're like, okay, you fight the winner of Volkov versus Johnson Almeida. Bet. And then he beats Johnson Almeida. And then it's okay, perfect. You're going to fight the winner of XYZ on the White House. Perfect. I'm all for it. But I just don't like when somebody's iced, sitting there chilling. They get to pick and choose what they do. Maybe they earn that right. I have no idea, right? But for me, I want to see guys who are putting the fucking, rubber to the pavement. Whether in all the accomplishment John Jones has done, it's amazing. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that if we got guys who are on the roster who are fucking fighting their asses off, they should have the first dibs to get on the White House. Even for Conor, we don't need his ass on the White House, right?
Then White dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. He flat out dismissed the long-rumored McGregor versus Michael Chandler matchup, calling that idea a couple years old and basically dead in the water for an event of this magnitude. Think about what this means. White just eliminated what 90% of fans and media thought was the most obvious fight to make for McGregor's return. By removing Chandler from the equation so definitively, White isn't just making a casual booking decision. He's signaling that the White House card operates by completely different rules than regular UFC events. This is about creating something unprecedented, not recycling old storylines that were hot 2 years ago. White's rejection of the Chandler fight opens the door for matchups nobody's even considering yet, potential opponents that could make McGregor's return even more explosive than anyone imagined.
They got some good things going, but I just don't want to see other athletes miss out on an opportunity that are...
But wait, the surprises keep coming, and this next revelation left everyone scratching their heads. Dana White publicly questioned the reliability of Jon Jones for this White House event, expressing real concerns about counting on bones for such a crucial card. White didn't mince words, asking how can I count on Jon Jones, and stressing you can't have Jones doing something bad or pulling out of the fight. Now, for those who don't understand the significance, Jones has a history of legal issues and last-minute fight cancellations that have cost the UFC millions in lost revenue. For an event at the White House, a venue that demands absolute perfection and zero controversy, even the slightest hint of uncertainty around your headliner is catastrophic. White's public doubt about Jones isn't just about fight reliability, it's about protecting the integrity of an event that could define combat sports history. When the UFC president openly questions his biggest star's dependability, that's not strategy, that's genuine concern about a potential disaster.
Do you turn to Michael Chandler? It's very hard for me to believe that Conor McGregor is going to return and that anybody else get that opportunity. I feel if we're going by what the right thing to do, and we don't have to do that, by the way. The right thing to do has got 20 different answers, not to mention what difference does it make, right? I mean, these aren't children where you're trying to do it right in Little League and everybody gets a turn to bat. It's not like that. But if it was, I think it would have to be Chandler, or at least Chandler would have to sure be considered. And you're also going to have to take into consideration to some degree, like we don't need Conor to win. We're not even expecting him to win. We're a little bit further. We acknowledge there's no way that Conor can win. And you're putting him in a beyond silly situation. We have never returned somebody after a 4-year break.
Here's where the plot thickens in a major way. While Dana White is playing it cautious and measured, Eric Trump is doing the exact opposite. Trump is openly embracing the idea of having the sport's biggest stars headline this White House card, speaking about Jon Jones like he's exactly the kind of legendary fighter who should answer the call for such a symbolic moment. And when it comes to McGregor, Trump talks about his involvement like it's not just possible but inevitable, even dropping hints that these two titans might actually face each other. This enthusiastic support from someone so intimately connected to the event's potential venue changes everything. This isn't just fan speculation anymore, this is insider momentum building in real time. Trump's comments transformed distant rumors into tangible possibility, giving weight to what seemed like wishful thinking just weeks ago. When someone with direct access to the White House is publicly advocating for specific fighters, that's not casual conversation. That's political endorsement of a combat sports spectacle.
Michael, the more we learn about, Conor's side of things here, I feel like this fight maybe not happening between you two there. It has less to do with you and probably more to do with him and his situation. Is that maybe, I don't know, making you more okay or digest this better to seem like he has a lot to figure out before he even gets back in the cage?
Yeah, never has anything to do with me, man. I'm the most reliable, most professional man in mixed martial arts, maybe in the history of mixed martial arts. So when I sign my name to a dotted line, I show up and do the work every single day. With that being said, there's still some hope there that maybe that fight happens. We shall see, but we're having some conversations, and either way, I will be on the White House lawn.
Let me tell you, the significance of Eric Trump's involvement cannot be overstated. When you hear these statements from someone so closely connected to the venue itself, it fundamentally shifts the entire conversation. Suddenly, the speculation around McGregor and Jones doesn't feel like distant rumors anymore. It transforms into undeniable momentum building right before our eyes. Every comment, every hint of enthusiasm from Trump amplifies the anticipation, bringing this historic White House card exponentially closer to reality. This isn't typical insider gossip or idle chatter from promoters trying to sell pay-per-views. This is a direct signal that the wheels of history are in motion for something truly monumental. Trump's public support gives legitimacy to what seemed impossible just months ago, proving that this event has backing at the highest levels of American politics. And that backing changes everything about how seriously we should take these fighter callouts and comeback rumors.
Or anything, but Dana was very clear, like the matchmaking was going to start last week. Have you been involved in at least conversations since that point?
Conversations have been had, but you know, we'll see how it all plays out, Mike.
Yeah, and you're open to anyone. I feel like you just want to fight on that card.
Yeah, man. So we'll see.
And what would that mean? Would that be you won some big fights? It doesn't matter who the guy is, but like, can you think of what that moment can be like? I mean, President Trump is out there saying all crazy things about 100,000 people. It's going to be insane and unique and one of a kind. Walking out from the Oval Office, can you even fathom and picture this moment yet?
Not really, man. It is historic, and it's a one-of-one type of event. It will never happen again. Could never happen again, probably. So, it's cool, man. It's a bright future. It's a really, really cool event. It's America's 250th anniversary, so I'm excited about that. So we'll get the matchup set. We'll sign a contract. We'll get our date set. I've already kind of started laying the foundation of a training camp, and I need to start laying the foundation of the visualization of what this thing's going to look like, because the problem is we don't know what the heck it's going to look like. It's going to be a brand new venue.
And just when you thought the stakes couldn't get any higher, they absolutely did. Manny Pacquiao, a boxing icon whose name resonates across the globe, stepped forward with his own audacious pitch, a White House boxing match with Conor McGregor. Now for Pacquiao, this isn't just a random challenge or attention grab. It's deeply rooted in personal motivation and loyalty to his friend Khabib Nurmagomedov, who famously dominated McGregor in their 2018 encounter. You can feel the intensity in Pacquiao's words. He wants to make McGregor prove himself not just in a fight, but on an unparalleled historic stage. This bold interjection from such a boxing legend injects a completely new dynamic into the conversation, hinting at a cross-sport clash that could eclipse every other potential matchup in terms of global interest. Imagine McGregor in a boxing ring at the White House against one of the greatest boxers who ever lived. The storylines write themselves: the brash MMA star versus the humble boxing icon, youth versus experience, trash talk versus quiet confidence.
I think it's unfair to compare people to Conor McGregor. I really do. I don't think anybody will ever reach that level of stardom. But I believe if there isn't a category that you could compare Ilya to Conor, and it'd be just, it's the fact that he had all that hype and he's lived up to it. I don't know that he ever becomes a star, Conor does, but I believe he has lived up to the hype and the expectation at a level that was thrust on him from the moment he got to the UFC.
But here's what makes Pacquiao's challenge even more intriguing. When given the choice between fighting McGregor and facing Khabib Nurmagomedov, Pacquiao unequivocally chose McGregor. Think about that decision for a moment. Pacquiao acknowledged Khabib as very humble, very religious, and an inspiration, nothing but respect for the undefeated Dagestani. Yet despite all that admiration, Pacquiao's focus remains squarely on challenging the notorious one. This preference speaks volumes about McGregor's gravitational pull and drawing power, confirming that even for an undisputed legend like Pacquiao, the ultimate challenge lies in facing the enigmatic Irishman. It's not about skill or rankings at this point, it's about spectacle and legacy. Pacquiao understands that a victory over McGregor on such a stage would cement his status as not just a boxing great, but a combat sports icon who conquered multiple generations and disciplines.
I believe that Conor makes it to the White House. Let's just live with that theory, though. Will Conor be able to manipulate the media even after he doesn't make it? He has pretended that he's coming back for 5 years. If the White House comes and goes, can he pretend, oh, I didn't come there, but you'll see me in November, you'll see me next January, or will that be the final ruse of McGregor?
I think you are one of the few people that still believe Conor at times. You don't, most people don't, but you do. I remember that one time where I was laughing at you. I was like, chill, you're like the girlfriend, man, that just keeps going back every time. Dude, he's just a bad guy. Like, you know he doesn't deserve you. But every time he calls, you're like, you know what? Maybe he's changed. So still, only you still believe that Conor's coming back. He doesn't go to the White House, it's done. Because here's the deal. Love it, hate it, love him or hate him. The White House card is going to be the biggest card we've ever had. But it can only be the biggest card that you will ever see if Conor McGregor is on the card. Am I wrong to say that?
No.
It can be the biggest. It'll be a stacked card. It'll be an amazing card.
Now Chael Sonnen, never one to hold back, put a harsh spotlight on just how unusual this entire scenario truly is. Sonnen openly admitted it's very hard for me to believe that Conor McGregor is going to return and that anybody else gets that opportunity. He argues convincingly that this matchup isn't about fairness or giving deserving fighters their shot. This is about pure spectacle and historical impact. Sonnen dismisses any notions of merit-based matchmaking, making it crystal clear that the White House card operates by entirely different rules dictated solely by star power. But then Sonnen delivered a brutal reality check about McGregor's potential return, stating bluntly, "We don't need Conor to win. We're not even expecting him to win." He suggested that putting McGregor in what he called a beyond silly situation after a 4-year layoff, immediately into a grueling 5-round fight, goes against all conventional wisdom in combat sports. This raw assessment cuts through the hype like a machete, questioning the competitive integrity of such a comeback while highlighting the immense physical and mental hurdles McGregor would face. Despite all this swirling speculation and drama, Michael Chandler has maintained an unwavering professional stance that's honestly impressive to witness. He's made it abundantly clear that any uncertainty surrounding their potential fight has nothing to do with him, proudly declaring himself the most reliable, most professional man in mixed martial arts, maybe in the history of mixed martial arts. Chandler's confidence stands in stark contrast to the perceived chaos surrounding McGregor's decision-making process. While McGregor posts cryptic training videos and everyone debates his commitment level, Chandler is sitting there ready to sign a contract at a moment's notice. His commitment to the White House card is absolutely ironclad. He stated unequivocally that he will be on the White House card on June 14th, positioning himself as a foundational element regardless of who his opponent turns out to be. This guarantee underscores his singular focus on etching his name into history, showing that while others play games with the media, Chandler is preparing for the opportunity of a lifetime. The excitement in Chandler's voice becomes genuinely palpable when he describes what's ahead. He painted a vivid picture of walking out from the Oval Office in front of tens of thousands of screaming fans on America's 250th anniversary, calling it a moment that would be both insane and utterly unique. Chandler is thinking far beyond the fight itself, envisioning a one-of-one event that will genuinely never happen again in combat sports history. This unprecedented setting clearly motivates him beyond typical competition. This isn't just another fight night. It's a completely new experience in a venue never before used for combat sports. Chandler admits he can't fully picture this moment yet precisely because of its unique nature, and that uncertainty only adds to the anticipation. The White House card represents a blank canvas for combat sports, promising a spectacle whose exact contours are still being imagined. For a fighter like Chandler, who's always been on the cusp of superstardom, this event represents his chance to leap into legendary status regardless of his opponent. Daniel Cormier added another fascinating layer to this conversation by acknowledging McGregor's undeniable star power while pointing to Ilia Topuria as the fighter who's come closest to matching that initial explosive hype. Not necessarily in terms of global fame, but in living up to expectations thrust upon him from day one in the UFC. Cormier's comparison subtly elevates Topuria, suggesting he possesses that rare intangible quality that makes a fighter a true phenomenon. This quietly stokes the idea of a potential McGregor-Topuria showdown, which would be an electrifying battle between McGregor's unmatched draw and Topuria's rapidly rising momentum. Such a fight represents either a symbolic passing of the torch or a seismic collision between eras, adding another tantalizing possibility to an already complex White House card. It's the kind of matchup that could define the next phase of the featherweight division, while giving McGregor a legitimate test against someone hungry to take his spot as the division's biggest star. And here's where the pressure really intensifies. Both Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen united in declaring that if Conor McGregor skips this White House card, all his comeback talk starts to feel empty and hollow. Sonnen doubled down, boldly calling McGregor's constant teasing a 5-year ruse and expressing profound skepticism that he'll actually show up when it matters most. This collective doubt from such respected voices signals that McGregor's window to validate his claims is rapidly closing, and the White House card represents his final chance to prove critics wrong. Cormier delivered a stinging but playful retort, comparing belief in McGregor's return to a persistent romantic partner who keeps going back despite repeated disappointment. It's a perfect metaphor for the cycle of anticipation and letdown that's defined McGregor's presence for half a decade, capturing the emotional investment fans and pundits have maintained despite constant false starts. The consensus is crystal clear. This White House card can only achieve legendary status if McGregor is on it, proving just how vital his star power remains to the sport's biggest stages. Ariel Helwani, ever the strategic analyst, offered crucial insight into how this White House card might actually take shape. He noted that McGregor's nearly 5-year absence significantly limits the UFC's options for a financially sensible and fan-satisfying comeback fight. While Michael Chandler remains the top choice, a fight with Paddy Pimblett is being considered as a real possibility, along with other potential matchups like Geith versus Topuria. Helwani stressed that plans could dramatically shift before this historic event, highlighting the fluid nature of high-stakes fight negotiations. But here's what everyone's missing in these discussions. The White House card isn't just about individual fights anymore. It's become a collision of conflicting agendas, audacious challenges, and a desperate pursuit of combat sports history. Every voice, every doubt, every bold claim amplifies the pressure, transforming what started as rumors into potentially the most unpredictable and iconic stage the sport has ever seen. So there you have it. We've got Mighty Mouse saying McGregor doesn't deserve the White House spotlight. McGregor training like his life depends on it. Dana White playing psychological games with the media, Eric Trump openly advocating for the biggest stars, Manny Pacquiao calling for a boxing match, and fighters like Chandler and Topuria positioning themselves as the future of the sport. This isn't just about booking fights anymore. This is about who controls the narrative of combat sports history and what it means to earn a spot on the most prestigious card ever assembled. The White House event represents something bigger than any individual fighter or matchup. It's a moment where politics, entertainment, and athletic competition collide on America's 250th anniversary, creating a stage that will define careers and cement legacies forever. Here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Does McGregor actually deserve this White House spot after 5 years away, or should it go to fighters who have been grinding consistently? If this breakdown of the biggest combat sports story of the year helped you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button, subscribe for more insider analysis, and hit the notification bell because this White House card situation is about to get even crazier. I'll see you in the next one.